It's 2:41 a.m., and your eyes are open again. Not because you want them to be. Your brain just won't shut up. Your chest feels tight. Your stomach has that weird hollow drop like you just missed a step on the stairs. You're doing the math in your head. Mortgage, car insurance, childcare, groceries, that credit card bill you swore you'd crush last month. And here's the strange part. You and your partner make good money, like objectively good money. 2 paychecks, 2 careers, a combined income that looks impressive on paper. And yet, somehow, it still feels fragile. Like one unexpected expense could tilt the entire thing over. If that feeling sounds familiar, look, you're not crazy. You're not bad with money. You might just be stuck in what's called the 2-income trap. And today, we're going to break down why 2 incomes, the thing that's supposed to make life easier, are actually leaving a lot of people feeling more broke than ever. But first, my name is Adam, and I'm obsessed with the survival mode brain chemistry that keeps us broke, and why reaching a single financial milestone is the only way to turn that midnight anxiety into actual breathing room. And here's the thing. Most personal finance advice gets completely wrong. This isn't just about budgets or spreadsheets. It's about your brain. Let me describe a couple. Tell me if this sounds familiar. They're both professionals. She works in marketing, he's in tech. Together, they make around $130,000 a year. Now, logically, that should feel like winning the game. But instead, they're tired. Their savings account is thin, and every month feels like a race against bills. Here's the thing nobody tells you. 2 incomes didn't just increase household money. They changed the entire financial system around you. Housing prices adjusted. Childcare became necessary. Schools got tied to expensive neighborhoods. Banks started approving bigger mortgages. Suddenly, the second income wasn't extra anymore. It became required just to keep up. And this is where your brain enters something I call financial survival mode. Look, your brain has 2 settings when it comes to money: financial survival mode and wealth building mode. Financial survival mode is reactive. It's fear-based. It's cortisol, stress, and constant short-term thinking. It sounds like this. Can we afford this repair? What if one of us loses our job? Why is our account lower than I thought? In this mode, your brain isn't planning the future. It's just trying to not drown. Wealth building mode is the opposite. It's calm. It's strategic. It's opportunity focused. You're thinking, where should we invest next? How do we increase our margin? What options do we want 5 years from now? But here's the brutal truth. Most dual income households never reach wealth building mode because both incomes are already spoken for before the money even arrives. And the math behind that? The math is absolutely brutal. Let's run the numbers on a second income. And I want you to actually think about this. Let's say one partner earns $70,000. The second partner earns $50,000. That $50,000 looks huge on paper, but watch what happens to it. First, taxes. Because it's stacked on top of the first income, a big chunk disappears immediately. Now we're closer to about $34,000 take home. Then comes childcare. Average cost around $15,000 per year. Now we're at $19,000. Add commuting costs, gas, car depreciation, insurance, another $6,000 to $8,000 gone. Now we're roughly at $11,000. But we're not done. 2 exhausted adults working full-time mean more takeout, more convenience spending, less time for home maintenance. That can easily eat another $5,000 to $7,000 a year. Suddenly, that $50,000 income is maybe contributing about $4,000 to $6,000 in actual net improvement. And that's before we talk about the real monster, wealth destruction. Let's take a very normal decision, buying a brand new car because, you both work hard. Say it's a $45,000 car. But here's the real cost: interest on the loan, insurance premiums, depreciation, which is brutal on new vehicles. That car can easily destroy $70,000 to $80,000 of wealth over its lifetime. But here's the part people never calculate: opportunity cost. If that same money were invested in a diversified index fund earning around 7 to 8% annually, over 20 years, that's potentially $170,000 to $200,000. So that normal purchase didn't just cost $45,000. It may have cost six figures in future wealth. And look, the numbers don't care about your feelings. This is why so many dual income households feel stuck, because a lot of the second income is quietly being converted into lifestyle expenses that destroy long-term wealth. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable: status spending. Look, I'm just going to say it. A lot of people are buying things to project an image of wealth to strangers who honestly don't care about them. Designer logos instead of plain t-shirts. Luxury cars instead of a reliable used Honda. The wild part is both of them are still stressed about money. You'll see someone step out of a luxury SUV wearing a brand name hoodie, and they're still living paycheck to paycheck. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear: looking rich and being rich are almost opposite strategies. Wealth building is quiet. Status spending is loud. And the two-income trap makes people feel like they have to play that game because everyone else is. There's something fascinating about how our brains behave when money hits the account. Within about 15 seconds of a paycheck landing, your brain starts making emotional decisions. Let's upgrade this. We deserve that. Let's celebrate. And look, I get it. You worked for it. But human brains are terrible at handling money in real time, which is why the single most powerful tool in personal finance isn't discipline, it's automation. Because automation removes emotion, impulse, and laziness. The second the paycheck hits, money should automatically go to investments, emergency fund, retirement accounts, before your brain even notices it exists. Because if you wait, financial survival mode takes over. Here's the deeper issue most people miss: two incomes eliminate the backup plan. 50 years ago, many households had one main income and one potential income. That second person could step in if something went wrong. Today, both incomes are already maxed out. Both are required, which means if one disappears, the system breaks. That's why so many households making six figures still feel fragile. They're operating at 100% capacity all the time. And systems running at 100% capacity eventually fail. Not because people are irresponsible, because there's no margin. So what's the solution? Look, it's not necessarily quitting your job. It's something more strategic. Build what I call a one-income foundation. Structure your life so that your essential expenses can survive on one income. Not comfortably, but survivably. That changes everything. Because now the second income becomes wealth building, freedom building, future optionality, instead of survival fuel. And here's the crazy part. Once you do that, your brain starts shifting out of financial survival mode. You begin thinking long-term. Opportunities appear. Stress drops, because your life finally has a margin again. The people who quietly win financially aren't always the highest earners. They're the ones who resisted upgrading their lifestyle the moment their income increased. They didn't buy the house the bank said they could afford. They bought the one that gave them breathing room. They didn't chase status purchases. They chased flexibility. And flexibility is the most underrated financial asset in the world, because flexibility lets you survive shocks and invest during opportunities. Most people think wealth comes from earning more. But a lot of the time, wealth comes from not expanding your life to consume your income. So here's the real question, and it's a tough one. Do you want to look rich or actually be rich? Because most of the time, you can't do both. Looking rich requires spending now. Being rich requires patience, automation, and ignoring what everyone else is doing. And look, you don't have to play the game. You don't have to compete in the arms race of bigger houses, nicer cars, and status spending. You're allowed to opt out. You're allowed to quietly build something stronger, something calmer, something that lets you finally sleep through the night without doing financial math in your head. And if you're in the two-income trap right now, that's actually good news. Because once you see it, you can start designing your way out of it. And that's where real financial freedom actually begins.